kind of like in Paris. You know, in Montmartre, and you have the little place there, and it's just part of Paris. If Montmartre wasn't there, you know, it would just lose a lot. No real reason, just make part of the city. A nice part.
I like the carnival atmosphere of selling. I like fairs. I like the whole atmosphere of being there, of everybody together. I like people to come along, and I like for them to admire my work.
I sell on the street primarily because I love people.
Basically because of the freedom that it gives me. I don't have to deal with what a particular store buyer happens to feel the public will want. I can deal with what I feel like creating, what is within me.
To make money and to be able to exist doing something that I enjoy and I don't think is a cop-out and killing me in any way.
Well, for me, it's an educational process because I learn from these people and they learn from me, and I get a lot of ideas and from the people who buy from me, and they seem to pick up a happy atmosphere from our happiness, that they're, you know, willing to take what we have and to buy it and to take it home and love it. Because I think that everyone who buys from me, my dolls, loves my dolls, and you know, they're giving them a good home. So I really enjoy that.
This is important. People are tired of having things that were stamped out in the factory. They want very much the human touch and things that they own.
I think people, it's like you know, there's somebody standing behind you because I made this stuff. It's like people going into stores. I've worked and sold other, you know, sold commercially produced things in stores, and like, you know, like there's a counter and there's somebody else behind there, but they don't really recognize that as a person, you know. It's just somebody dishing out the goods and giving them their change, you know, and servicing them as a customer, you know, a representative of the store. Whereas with here, you know, like there's a line behind this table, you know, like where I'm standing, but you know, I produce those things so I can talk a little bit more intimately about them than, you know, when I got Model X40, you know, 4735 from the factory, and we can argue another one in 6 weeks or whatever.
Their ability to create and with their own hands, and just the fact that they were doing this, as we would say, their own thing in their own way. And if we just had more people off of welfare doing this kind of thing, it would make me real happy, because I sure do hate to pay these terrible taxes for welfare.
The whole frustration of making your living with something that's not sure, where you don't have a paycheck coming in every week, and I'm not going to clear 125.86. It's that security thing, you know. 1 week I might do all right and make enough money to live on for 2 weeks, and it might rain the next weekend and I have no money to live on at all. I think that the tendency to be weak and say, okay, I'll take a regular job where there's a little more security is sort of dampened by the fact that there aren't any jobs around. You know, it's kind of hard, so you don't really have that choice. You know, people in the Depression sold apples on the street. And that was some street selling there. Only they didn't make apples themselves.
We live in a small fishing village on the Mendocino coastline, about a population of about 300 people, and we have a small redwood house that sits in the redwoods facing a pond.
There are 4 of us altogether, myself and 3 others. All of us are jewelers. Each of us does a different type of jewelry work, and we all live by selling our work on the streets and in fairs.
Living in Albion with my brothers is, for me, the best experience I've ever had, because I've never really had a family, but these 3 people are my very close brothers, and they provide a creative stimulation that's very high and very fine. We sit around in the evenings and work and talk about our work. They all give me suggestions of direction sometimes, compliments, which is a great stimulus. And living in the country too is very peaceful, and it aids in my creativity.
For about 2 or 3 years I did like Indian designs, because, you know, that's what I figured like beadwork should be, you know. And then I finally decided that, you know, I didn't have to be doing all these, I could be doing my own, and so I started drawing up my own designs and doing them more sort of flowing things, because like all the Indian designs are geometric type patterns. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 tribes, the Ute Indians, who do like floral designs. And then I started, you know, and the Indians do like little fringe things, but they just do little fringe. And I started thinking, well, why can't you add things to the fringe? And so I started doing it and putting like crystal all over the bottom and getting really gaudy because they were more like jewels to me. Because I'd look at it, like when I get done, it'd be like something you might find in King Solomon's mine or something like that.
When I start a necklace, I think of the picture I want to paint or the story I want to tell. My first thing I think of is in terms of how many strands I want to build my story on, like I would imagine a painter would do, and how large a canvas he would want to use. If I'm doing say a story of an African prince, I look through my beads and say, well, what would a prince of a jungle wear if he was a proud man and wanted to show that to all his people? What types of talismans or amulets would he carry?
Street art is America's contemporary folk art. You can't get any folkier. when you're chewing it with your hands, selling it on the street to plain everyday folks. That makes true folk art.
It all has to do with creation, with making things that surround us so beautiful that we really try with each other to bring about a universal understanding and acceptance of one another. And this all has to do with beauty, because when we see beautiful things, we give out beautiful vibrations. We make life on our planet, which we don't often understand, something that is so worthwhile